Hello, my ducklings. Mamba Duck here, back with another visual novel of sorts. This is Seduce Me. It's actually an older visual novel with, some cute guys. So I figured, why not? I actually have played this a long, long time ago with my friend, and I never actually completed it because, at the time I was thirsty and I only cared about the guys. But there's many different endings, and we'll probably complete all of the game because why not. um I have had to redo the sound for this like 100 times because I am not good with technology, and I actually had played over an hour of this only to figure out that it did not record the voices of the characters. It was super sad. Um, anyways, so let's just jump right on into it. New game. This is a fictional interactive narrative. Any character resemblance to real life people are purely coincidental. Also, please note that the following game is made for PG-16 audiences. Please note that sexual violent themes are explored in this game. Trigger warnings, abuse, implied rape, and suicide. You have been warned. So yes, I did play this a long, long time ago, and I know what they are talking about. So as far as I know, and remember, I never played it to completion, but I really only saw most of this stuff, and like almost all of it came from one route in particular of one of the guys. Um, so when I do eventually pursue the route with him, I will again try to remember to remind you guys of this. Um, just because I completely understand I have my own things that I don't I just want to pretend they don't even exist. I have my own things. I mean, we all do. Alright. Please enjoy.
Why, hello. My, aren't you a gorgeous sight? Can I be honored enough to know your name?
Yes, you can be honored. Let's see. My name. What is my name? How about Mama Duck? You know what? No. Okay. So, I'm not against doing that, but I know it's going to end up happening. I'm going to go with Joe, just because that's my nickname. And I know that they will say my name, and it could be very awkward for them to be like, Mama Duck, I want you so much, because I won't be able to take that seriously, and y'all probably won't either. So I'm going to go with Joe. Enter.
A lovely name for a lovely person like you. Wonderful.
I like to be called lovely. It makes me happy. Oh no, am I even recording still? Okay, I'm still recording. Sorry, I get paranoid.
Eric, do your job.
Very well. This game was produced by Seraphim Entertainment under the direction of Michaela Laws and is powered by Ren'Py Visual Novel Engine. We truly hope you'll enjoy this story. I know I'll enjoy it since you'll be in it.
Eric.
Eric.
Fine, fine. Farewell, my sweet.
Farewell, my Eric. Somewhere. That sounded sexual. I gotta hear that again. Just one more time. Okay. Yeah.
Come on! Is that all you got?
No, I have more.
Wanna try me, asshole?
I'm not even gonna say anything on that one. Oh, that was loud. Okay, let's lower the cause that was loud. That hurt my ears.
Crap! Missed.
Let's retreat for now.
No kidding. Let's get out of here.
That's right. You better run, you stupid punks! Stay out of our territory!
Call it fate or call it coincidence. That one moment of violence started a chain of events I will never forget.
This formula, created in the 70s, is one of the most important in the field of financial theory. It is used to calculate the price of European-style options and is widely used by option marketers, though there are some discrepancies that are now corrected with the modern viewpoint.
Rain. It's been a long time since we've gotten rain around here, but it is the season for rainy weather, so it's not exactly that surprising. And I'm guessing this is us. I mean, it looks nothing like us, cause we are much cuter than her. Okay, maybe we're not. I don't know, but I'm sure that our personality is better than hers. Maybe I don't know. I guess that's not for me to decide. Either way, this is us. This is Joe. She looks like a Joe. Personally, I loved the sound of it, the way the raindrops fell, like the soft tapping of fingers. It was so soothing. Even looking at the droplets hit the glass of the window was strangely calming. For this reason, I felt lucky for having a seat next to the window, though I did spend more time staring outside than I did paying attention in class. The lectures in class were pretty boring. Miss Phillips' voice wasn't soporific, but I just wasn't interested in what she was saying. And since it was the period right before lunch, all I could think about was doing other things in my free time. Honestly, I didn't really care much for economics. Sure, I had good grades in this class, but it was only because I read the textbook and did my assignments as I had to. I was only taking this class because it was mandatory. If it were up to me, I would probably have taken another course. Luckily, it was my senior year, so after this semester it would mean the end of high school courses forever. Thank God for that. I didn't hate high school, it was just kind of mundane how the days drifted on and on as if there were no end to it. The only thing I really enjoyed about going to school was meeting my friends and hanging out with them, but that was kinda it. In short, I was done with high school. The start of second semester brought a note of finality to it. I had already applied to many universities this semester prior, and I was expecting replies sometime in the next few months. It seemed like the start of something new, something that would change. That is, if things could change. I stared at the faint outline of raindrops in the distance. For now, I was stuck in this class, and I think that that is reason enough to save, if any. So, you'll see some things, or maybe not. Okay, we're gonna save over this. You see this one. This was my last attempt, the one where the game audio didn't record. So we're just gonna cover that up. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Miss Anderson.
My name is not Anderson, but okay. Miss Phillips' raised voice interrupted my train of thought. Just when I was thinking about class, I quickly turned my head to face the teacher. Hopefully she didn't pick me just because she noticed I was spacing out. Wow, it sure is bright and sunny for having just been raining. Yeah. Yes, ma'am?
Would you care to name the equation I set up on the blackboard?
Oh, I think I read about that in the textbook last night. It should be the Black-Scholes model formula?
Very good as always, Miss Anderson.
Yeah, be that teacher's pet. Anderson. It followed me wherever I went. Most people didn't really know me by my first name, but rather by my surname. No doubt since the surname was the trademark of the internationally famous and philanthropic Anderson Family Toys, and because the founder was my own grandfather. Suzu, one of my best friends, turned around and proudly gave me a punch to the shoulder.
Kick ass, girl.
Yeah, Suzu. From beside me I heard Naomi, another one of my best friends, clearing her throat in obvious disapproval of Suzu's choice of words.
She means good job.
It's okay, I speak Suzu. I got it, Naomi, I know what she meant.
Miss Capini.
Oi!
Yeah.
Care to tell me who the creators of this formula were?
Some guys named Black and Scholes?
To be fair, she's not wrong. To be fair.
Fisher Black and Myron Scholes.
See, Look, okay, obviously we're, forced to go by our last name, so, how many Blacks and Shoals can there be? Right? Yeah?
Very good, Miss Patterson.
Show off.
It's okay.
Better study next time, Suzu. Be like us and study once in a while.
Naomi, don't be like that. Suzu rolled her eyes and slouched into her chair as Naomi gave her a small smirk. She always pouted when Naomi showed her up.
That's the end of today's lecture. Now, let's separate into groups and work on your projects. Remember, everything is due on Monday. Go ahead now.
All right. Before I knew it, Suzu and Naomi had scooted their desks to align with mine, and we turned into the Three Musketeers. Whenever the teacher let the students decide on groups, we always grouped together in our little trio. It was a sheer stroke of luck that we all managed to be in the same class, so we had to at least take the opportunity and stick together as much as we could. Besides, we were most comfortable around each other than, say, compared to being around any other classmate. It just made sense for us to put our heads together for any kind of project. I took out the poster we were working on and rolled it up into the 3 desks. We were pretty much finished with fulfilling most of the guidelines for the project, though we did still have to add a few finishing touches here and there. After working on making the poster a bit prettier, we sat back and inspected our work to see what we still had to do. Naomi, as usual, was the first to look for any issues. She lightly tapped a pencil against her chin, staring intently at the project.
Alright, so let's see. We finished the budgeting section, the building leasing, and the cost for labor. What else do we need?
Suzu straightened up to look at the poster and stroked her chin. After a few seconds, her face brightened and she spoke up.
How about a company name? Huh? Did we really skip over that?
Of course we did. You always go straight into the logical statistics and stuff that you completely skip over the fact. We need a name for our project.
I mean, you don't always need a name. I have spent most of my life going by, hey, you over there. It's worked for me thus far.
At least we caught it this time. What do we name it?
Which means that they forget to name things a lot.
Not sure. What do you think?
What does Joe think? It always came down to me. Whenever there was something to be named or titled, I was the master in ending decision, even when I didn't want to be.
I like Trinity Corporations.
That is way too predictable. How about the Dragon Company?
The Dragon Company. Yeah, that name has some force to it.
What do dragons have to do with our project?
Dragons have everything to do with everything.
What? It's a totally unpredictable name. It's hot.
Much like most dragons.
But our company sells bubblegum.
Dragon-flavored bubblegum.
Who said we can't produce spicy bubblegum?
Or spicy bubblegum. That works too.
What do you think?
Well, I guess since I can't, come up with a name myself.
Yeah. What do you think?
And I mean, because if I did, I would just be like, oh, Bubblicious. And then I would be like, wait, no, that already exists. Because I'm horrible at naming things. Both of them looked at me expectantly, even though I wasn't quite sure myself. I didn't really want to choose sides, but if it were up to me, I would say I like Dragon Company or Trinity Corporation sound just fine. See, even from the 2 choices, she actually clearly says that she likes Dragon Company, whereas the other one, she's like, that one will work. So I'm going with the Dragon Company.
Booyah! Dragon Company it is!
There you go, Suzu.
Alright, now that we've decided on a name, now what?
As we ended our name game, a giggle scrambled my thoughts. Huh? Who was that?
Ignore it. It's just Lisette.
Not Lisette. I looked over my shoulder to see her laughing with her circle of friends, mostly comprised of popular people that were practically friends with everyone in the school. Not me, though. I'm just the rich girl that no one likes. Wow, I don't know why I suddenly got salty. Joe has done nothing to me. And as a result, everyone in the school knew them. In the center of it was Lisette White. She sat with a posture that indicated she was still working, but that she also was ready to casually chat about her day. She had an endearing balance of charismatic and awkward, which was readily apparent when she first talked to someone. It was easy to make her smile and laugh, and she was quite the comedian as well. Basically, she was perfect. Not that she was like a robot or something, but she was the student that everyone else wanted to be. Lisette was bright, easygoing, and above all, had her future laid out right in front of her. Again, unlike me, who came from a rich background. Unlike the average student, she knew what she wanted to do after high school, and as a result, she was confident and ambitious, though sometimes it could rub a lot of people the wrong way. Moreover, I had known her since I was young, but it had ultimately resulted in a rivalry that continued today. Of course, my friends knew what was between us, and upon seeing me glance at her, they shifted their attention to her.
She doesn't even look like she's working, in my opinion.
She probably is, but she's too much of a stuck-up priss to allow herself to look like she's actually doing work.
And that right there is how you know that they are truly our best friends. This girl who has done nothing except sit at her desk with her own group of friends, and our best friends quickly say, "Look at that person over there. She ain't good enough because she's stuck up." These are good friends. I like it.
Oh, come on, Suzu. She may be a little off-putting, but she's not the giant priss that you're making her seem to be.
The day she isn't a priss is the day I turn into you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Never mind.
Oh, Suzu, never change.
It's about time. Let's bail.
And she's gone. Unsurprisingly, Suzu was the first out of the classroom, slinging her backpack over her shoulder with ease as she quickly strolled out the door.
Her seat isn't even closest to the exit, and she always manages to be the first one out of the door. I don't think I'll ever understand that.
I wish I was as fast as her getting out of here, or me and you both, Naomi. I'll go with this one. She gave me a smile as if relieved by the fact that I felt the same way as she did.
See? Why can't she just be normal like the two of us?
Normally, people do want to rush out of the classroom, but that's alright, Naomi. Oh no, my ears are hurting. Okay. Sorry guys, I had to reposition the headset thingy. The thingy. I had to reposition the thingy. It's Suzu, Naomi. Think about it.
Very true.
Man, you guys are slow. Are you coming or what?
Well, yeah. Just give me some time.
We heard you the first time. Not everyone has rocket boosters attached to their legs when the bell rings.
Are you kidding me? That class was ridiculously boring. Even Miss Valedictorian here was dozing off a bit.
I do have to admit I was spacing out, and just because I answered one question doesn't mean I'm automatically the valedictorian. I would have to answer 2 questions right for that.
Okay, so it wasn't too interesting. But you should at least pay attention when Phillips is talking about the important parts.
But if you're not paying attention, how will you know what the important parts are?
So you finally admit it. We're finally on the same wavelength. Welcome to the club, Patterson.
Please, don't call me by my last name. This isn't the classroom. And never in a million years will we ever see things eye to eye.
Despite this, they both burst out in laughter. Normally, anyone would think that opposites like them would never associate with each other, but even though they were so different, their friendship somehow made a lot of sense. Maybe they were just perfect complements, or personality just didn't dictate the possibility of their friendship. After all, we 3 had been best friends since preschool. Yeah, I don't know that personality's the biggest component in determining friends. I mean, me and my best friend, like, in some ways we're similar, but in some ways we're, like, so drastically different. Like, you know, she's a super clean, really good at being organized, and, well, I, to say it nicely, am not. I'm so the not.
Alright, so where are we heading to first? Cafeteria? I think we can all agree that we're really hungry, especially after hearing about our company's line of deliciously spicy bubblegum.
Spicy bubblegum.
Who would even buy that? I wonder.
There's lots of people, I'm sure.
Me? I would pay good money to get a taste of it.
Haha, you do like spicy food after all. We entered the cafeteria, a bustling room filled with the aromas of different kinds of food. As we got in line, we ordered our meals and chatted freely.
Cajun fries and the spicy chicken burger for me. That's my definition of a good meal.
Uh-oh, it made a weird sound. Why did it make a weird sound? I don't like weird sounds.
I'll take a tuna sandwich and some juice. You're probably going to need water or something to curb all that spicy flavor, Suzu.
I can't be tamed by the likes of that. If it's spicy, then it's gotta be all or nothing.
You're crazy!
She's crazy because she likes spicy foods. Yeah,
Hell yeah, I'm crazy.
you heard her.
I think I'm getting a migraine.
If that gives you a migraine, baby girl, then you probably should go to the doctor, because that's a very minor thing to get a migraine over. I think I'll go with what Naomi's having, Cajun fries and spicy chicken burger 2, which is what Suzu's having, or just mac and cheese and a soda. Well, I had to choose the mac and cheese and a soda, but only because, that one comes with a soda. And, y'all don't know it, but I'm what's commonly referred to as a sodaholic. Almost to the point where I probably should pay more attention to my health. As we're doing this, I'm drinking me a big old glass of soda now. It's wonderful. Ah, it's so wonderful. So soda all the way. That sounds good. Once we got our food, we settled down at one of the empty tables, putting our backpacks aside to finally dig into the food. Suzu leaned back in her chair, tilting it back so that she could rest her feet on the table by her food.
Alright then, is there anything we want to talk about?
I would like to talk about Suzu getting her nasty feet off the table with food, but since I'm probably not going to have that option...
Bored already?
I know. Let's talk about...
Say boys, and I will never speak to you ever again.
Suzu, are you a lesbian? I'm okay with that. In fact, if there's an ability to... Because, okay, I said before that I played this game, but I never, played it to completion. I never did all the routes. I only did all the routes with the boys on them. Which we will get to at some point. But I know that, each of the friends... there's also an ending with each of them, but I don't know that it's necessarily a romantic kind of thing. And then I think that there's one where it's I know that there's several endings that I never even looked at. But I kind of regret that I never really got to know the friends more, so I will probably look into doing that at some point.
Aw, why not?
What's so interesting about talking about guys? It's not like any of us are gonna get boyfriends anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm not a catch. I'm just a rich heiress. And you're a cute little girl and a very sophisticated girl. There's nothing special at all about us, even though we are all very attractive.
We don't know that. What if one of us does get a boyfriend?
Like that's going to happen, Naomi. Look at us. I'm a tiny Italian. You're a ditzy blonde.
Okay, so that right there is a contradiction. I've been told that lots of guys like really tiny girls and lots of guys like ditzy blondes. I don't see what the issue is. I also don't see that you're a blonde. You kind of look like you have brown hair, but whatevs.
Hey!
No offense. And Anderson here. Well, I guess she could land a boyfriend or girlfriend if she wants.
Thank you, Suzu. Thank you. I am happy with anyone at this point.
Or girlfriend?
She can be a lesbian if she wants.
Yeah, Naomi, I can be a lesbian if I want.
True.
Okay, well, at least okay, I have friends who were just happy if I'm happy. That sounds good. I appreciate that. That's okay, Suzu. I'm not sure I want a boyfriend yet. But notice, she did not say that she did not want a girlfriend yet.
Why not? It's our senior year. Might as well get a boyfriend.
Getting a boyfriend just to get a boyfriend is not... There's no point in that.
Maybe she's just not interested in a relationship, Suzu.
Maybe y'all should let me talk. Well, it really wasn't about wanting a relationship, but more there was no one interesting enough to be in a relationship with. Don't get me wrong, I'm an open person, but there were not many interesting guys in the school to go out with. I mean, look, I see no guys at all of this cafeteria. Who knows? Time will tell. Naomi looked at me, waiting to continue the conversation. However, before she could speak, the speakers in the cafeteria started up and an announcement echoed through the cafeteria.
Miss Anderson, please come to the main office immediately. Please bring your things with you.
Oh, the intercom.
Oh my.
Looks like our plans have been cut short. The men in white coats have finally come to get you.
Suzu, don't joke around. What if it's serious?
Fine. If something happens, just call us.
Will do, Suzu. Will do, Naomi. Funny enough, but not so funny, something did happen. And it was certainly no laughing matter. Cold. It was really cold. The rain became heavier that afternoon, accompanied by rolling thunder now and then. The skies had turned dark, though I couldn't see any of it under the black umbrella. Not that I was looking up. In fact, looking up was the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. I stared at the grass beneath my feet, unable to look up at the people weeping around me. All I could see was the damp grass underneath my feet. Only the monotone eulogies that floated through my ears reminded me that I was at a funeral. It was only when the speeches ended that I finally was able to raise my head. Harold Anderson, forever in our hearts. A small gathering of people, mostly made of relatives that I didn't even know were related to me, were huddled around a simple small grave. For a while, all I heard was the sound of raindrops on umbrellas. If it weren't raining, everything would probably be in a heavy silence. I looked beside me where my father was standing and holding up a large black umbrella for our small family of 3. His face was emotionless. A strange sight next to my weeping mother. I wondered what was going through his mind. After all, etched into the small gray tombstone before us was his father's name. My grandfather, the one who raised me like his own daughter, had passed away that day. The ceremony was small. Only close family were allowed to come. Slowly, though, people began to leave, leaving my father, mother, and me behind at the grave. A man dressed in a clean black suit under the uniform black umbrella of the funeral attendees walked towards us, introducing himself as grandfather's lawyer. He pulled out a few documents from his suitcase and began to read aloud its contents.
And now, I shall read Harold Anderson's last will and testament.
Only my parents and I were allowed to be present for my grandfather's will. It was under the strict request of his lawyer, and there was a reason why.
And to my dearest granddaughter, I give my estate. All the furniture and decor that resides within the house shall also be given to my granddaughter.
What? I couldn't believe my ears. I had earned the family estate at 18? That was impossible, and yet it was written by my own grandfather's hand.
He passed the family estate to her? Why am I not surprised?
Now, I'm going to say this even though later on I'm going to be upset, but I'm going to say this now, but her daddy cute? I swear I can't even say that I don't have an old man fetish. I mean, I don't, but anyway, you know what? I'm not even talking about this. I'm just going to go on about the story. Okay, so our grandfather has passed away and he has left the entire estate to us.
Dear.
Well, did he say anything about what will become of the CEO and chairman position of the Anderson Toys Company?
No. It is presumed that the vice chairman will succeed the position.
Even to the bitter end, he wouldn't give in. Oh, what a stubborn old man.
Be nice, Daddy. Shaking his head, my father turned to face my mother with a serious expression on her face.
About the estate. Should we send her there to get used to the building? It'll be a good place for her to live after high school.
Are you sure we should?
Why not? This would be a good experience for her.
We say, literally still at the funeral.
Honey, what do you think?
I think nothing. I really wasn't sure what to say. Why did my grandfather think that I was the appropriate heir to the mansion? Was I even ready to live on my own?
Well, that seems to be it. We'll be taking our leave now. I'm sure the little heiress needs some time to adjust.
Come on, Dad. Don't be like that. Come on. No, don't. Mr. Anderson.
David!
And he runs off. Even though she raised her voice, my dad wordlessly began walking back to the car, disinterested.
Don't mind him, honey. I think that your grandfather's passing really affected him. Why don't we get back home for now?
You can go on ahead in the car, Mom. I think I need some time alone with Grandpa.
Oh, of course. Take all the time you need.
She gave me a quick hug and hurried after my dad. I looked around the funeral grounds, which were completely empty save for the sullen-looking grave that was laid in front of me. I'm sure that if Grandpa were in charge of arranging all of this, it would have been much different. It was blatantly obvious that my dad was in charge of the whole event. Who else would bury their own family the same day they pass away? I am not trying to take the dad's side, because I have some issues with her dad, but, there are some people. Everyone grieves differently, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And there's some people who their way of dealing with it is to keep busy. So it's kind of like the sooner this is taken care of, the sooner I can grieve the way I need to grieve. And I'm not one of those people. I'm kind of one of those people that kind of lay in all the pain. I mean, you know, there's things I could do that in the long term would probably be good for me, but it's like I can't do them. I'd rather be miserable but hold on to the last shred of the past. It's not necessarily the healthy way of doing it. It's not necessarily the best way to do it, but everyone grieves differently. So, I don't know. Everyone knew my grandfather's love for toys, and yet the grave was a mere stone slab on the ground, void of any children's toys. My dad didn't even bother putting flowers. Yes, and again, I'm not taking the dad's side. It's obvious that our dad has issues with our grandfather. I don't know, man. His disdain for my grandfather was almost pitiful. Sorry, Grandpa. I tried to force out some words, but the only thing that came out was a choked sob. You told me to stay strong, but right now I'm the furthest from it, like that one time a long time ago. Grandpa!
Oh, it's so good to see you again, sweetie.
I was swept into a giant bear hug, and we both laughed as he swung me around like an airplane. It was one of my favorite things about seeing my grandfather, the way he greeted me. Unlike my father, my grandfather was loving and playful, even as I grew older. Sorry that Daddy couldn't be here today. He said that he wasn't feeling too good again. It has always been like that. Dad missed every visit to Grandpa's house, citing that he was busy with work or wasn't feeling well.
Is that so? Well, that's okay. Daddy can come around next time. And you're here, right?
Yeah, so what are we doing today, Grandpa? Mommy says that there's a new dessert cafe open in town. Maybe we could go.
Oh, I would love to. But I've been so busy with the company these days. We're actually working on a little something. Would you like to see?
Oh, yes. Oh, is it a toy?
It is. I was designing a new line of them. But I feel like something's missing. You don't think you could help me out, could you?
Of course. He placed the toy in my hands with a smile, and I inspected it carefully. It was beautifully crafted, and obviously a lot of work was put into it. There was one thing, though.
So, what do you think?
I think the heart on its chest should light up when you hug it. It'll be like it's alive, and it can be like a little night light before you go to sleep. He stroked his chin, considering my input, while nodding his head. After a few moments of silent deliberation, he turned to me with a chuckle.
That's a great idea. I'll get to changing it right away. You're always like my little lucky charm, dear. You always know what to add to make the perfect toy.
Well, I hope I can be like you one day, Grandpa.
You want to make toys as well?
Well, maybe making people happy is the best feeling in the world. I don't know if I want to make toys when I grow up, though.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
I will. That makes sense. Daddy doesn't think of it in the same way, though.
Your father. I'm sure he just wants the best for you.
Maybe. I'm not so sure about that.
Sweetie, look at me.
He bent down to look at me eye level with a serious look on his face.
As much as your father may say something that doesn't make sense now, you must remember that he's always thinking about you. He loves you. There's no doubt about that. And you need to love him just as equally.
I don't hate Daddy. I really do love him. I don't know why he's like this, though.
Your father and I have had some difficulties with each other in the past. But it's nothing that you should be concerned about.
I had heard tidbits of this from my mother and various other people. The only people who had stayed quiet were my father and grandfather. Both of them refrained from saying a word on the subject matter, but it was clear that whatever happened set up a wall between them. It's hard, though, trying to pretend as if nothing were wrong.
However, no matter what, you have to stay strong. You're a big girl already, and, well, there'll come a day when it seems like it's you against the world. But always remember that your family and friends will be here with you. Daddy, Mommy, your friends at school, me. We'll stand together to get through it.
How can you be so sure of that?
Because we'll be right here and here.
He pointed his finger to my head first and then pointed at my chest.
So stay strong. Promise?
For a moment he looked almost sad, pleading, but as quickly as it had come, the expression disappeared from his face and he was all smiles once again. Promise. Upon hearing that, Grandpa let out a big burst of laughter and stood up.
All right then. Enough of that. How about I whip up some special homemade dessert? I know I can't accompany you at that new cafe, but we sure can talk and eat while I cook and do some paperwork.
Homemade dessert? I'll race you to the kitchen.
Hey, slow down there. I'm not what I used to be.
Okay, I'm gonna go in and save. Because it's important to save and save often. And I'm gonna save again. And one more time just to be sure. Because, you know, I like to save. Yeah, okay, so her grandfather's gone. Passed away. Her dad and her grandpa has some issues with each other. We don't really know what yet. We know that her dad is not very nice from what it looks like. It's a shame that her grandfather passed away. He's cute. I mean, like, not okay. I don't have an old man fetish. I swear I don't. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, I like his bow tie. His bow tie is cute. And he's super, he sounds like super nice and stuff. You willed me the very home I love to see you in. Why? Why would you think I would be ready to take it, especially after this? A surge of anger bubbled within me, but I quickly swallowed it. There was no use in getting mad, especially when the person in question was no longer there. Yeah, I hear you about that. I'm sorry, it's hard to stay calm when you left me with so many questions, especially after what happened between you and Dad. Huh, what am I doing, talking to a grave? It helps. Talking to something, directing your words at something, it helps. Sometimes, unfortunately, it can make you a little bit more emotional, but in the long run, I think it helps. My vision blurred, and I suddenly realized that I was crying. My face heated up as tears rolled down my cheeks. I'll bring you some flowers later. I miss you, Grandpa. I'll try my best to fulfill my promise I gave to you, even if the world might be turned against me. I left the grave, wiping my tears hastily so my parents wouldn't see.
Well, it's time to head back home. I'll cook up your favorite lasagna when we get home, okay?
Gross. Lasagna. Thanks, Mom. I'm anti-pasta by nature. All pasta, not all pasta, like any Italian-y kind of pasta, like I can deal with like Kraft mac and cheese or that kind of stuff. But spaghetti and lasagna, gross. However, my dad didn't speak the entire drive home. I wanted to talk to him, but after his moment at the funeral, I wasn't sure if that was a good idea.
It's about time we took off those dreary black clothes.
Yes, and exchanged it for your grayish ones. Gathering my courage, I decided then that it was time to talk. Dad, could I ask you something?
Go ahead.
You just sound all kinds of confrontational. Look. Oh, it made another weird noise. Don't make weird noises. Okay, I hope that the audio is like still working. If not, I'm gonna be very sad. Um, yeah, Father, you need to learn some body language. You see, when you have your arms crossed, it makes you seem like you're not really open to the conversation. That's just, maybe something you should work on. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Why do you want me to move into the estate so soon?
I thought I made that rather clear. The college near your grandfather's house is well known for its business program. You are planning to major in business, yes?
Maybe.
Right after you graduate from high school, you'll just live there and can easily commute to and from school. It's a perfect fit for you.
But it's so sudden. You just decided so quickly right after the funeral. Not even after the funeral. You were still at the funeral.
Don't be so sensitive. If you're like that in the real world, you'll be crushed.
Sensitivity can be a valuable asset. I'm just saying that maybe we could talk a bit more about my future. In reply, my father rubbed his temples and sighed quietly.
After you graduate from college, you'll work at Anderson Family Toys. I have connections since I am part of the board of directors, so you will be guaranteed a spot. That is what we talked about before, yes?
Maybe. I wasn't there for that conversation, so I cannot verify that. But what if...
Stop mumbling.
Okay, sorry. But what if I don't want to work there?
Don't be silly. It's the family company. Our company. I'm not just going to hand it over to some incompetent vice chairman.
Obviously, the vice chairman ain't that incompetent. Otherwise, your daddy would have been like, "Yes, son, you get to be the vice chairman." He came closer to me and his face softened.
Look, this is all for the best, okay? You may not know it right now, but you will appreciate it later.
For some reason, when I heard him say that, something snapped in me. I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but it made me feel so angry. Do you even care that grandfather passed away?
Of course I do.
Well, everything seems fine and dandy to you. Things couldn't be better.
Excuse me? I don't like your tone, young lady.
And I don't like yours. It's like nothing even happened at all, like you just ignored the fact that he's no longer here.
Do not raise your voice at me.
Okay, sorry, I started laughing because it's like I half expected him to be like, as long as you live under my house, you'll follow my rules, and I was about to be like, I ain't about to be living under your house no more. But he didn't say that. Anyways, what did he ever do to deserve this? My father, his face hardened, crossed his arms because they weren't already crossed, and erupted in angry laughter.
Ha! You sure place him upon a pedestal. Like he's some kind of venerated god or something. It makes me sick.
And you make me sick sometimes. Is that it? Are you happy seeing grandfather dead? While everyone was grieving, were you holding yourself back from laughing in everyone's face? Did you feel like just a bit happier seeing him lie in the graveyard? A flash of rage crossed his face, and he whipped the back of his hand across my cheek.
You don't know anything! Running your mouth like somehow you know everything that went on, when you're just a little girl that doesn't know how to keep her mouth shut!
So, in case you missed that, our daddy just slapped us across our face.
You did not know my father! You did not know what he was capable of!
I'm starting to wonder if the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. I hope not, but, I mean, stranger things have happened.
Is everything all right? What happened?
Mommy, Daddy just slapped me. So, if we could get this situated... Nothing, I'm not hungry. I think I'll just go upstairs and not tell you.
Honey, wait!
So we're gone. I quickly turned and ran up the stairs to my room, slamming the door behind me. My breath came in short pants, and for a while just leaning against the door to my bedroom, eventually sliding down to sit against it. How did things become like this? My cheeks still throbbed, and I tentatively stood up and looked at the mirror to see how it looked. Hopefully it doesn't bruise. Huh, what am I saying? Tears formed in the corner of my eyes, but I blinked them back rapidly. I couldn't cry for the second time today. I had to be stronger than that.
Are you alright? Your father told me nothing happened, but you know your father.
Yes, he lied to you. He slapped me. I really think this is something we should be talking about. Maybe you can, inform your husband that he needs to go to anger management, classes or something like that. Don't get me wrong. We very well might have been out of line too, but that does not mean that he should slap us across our face. You gotta use your words, like an adult. I'm fine, I just lost my appetite when my daddy slapped me.
The lasagna's done, though, and I don't want you skipping any meals. Are you sure?
Yeah, don't worry about me, Mom. I'll come downstairs later to eat.
You're not telling me the whole story.
No, I'm not, but I'm sorry, Mama. I ain't got a choice. I just don't want to eat right now.
Please, dear. Tell me what's going on. I wish you would tell me why you're being like this.
Well, my grandfather just died, and my daddy just slapped me because I got upset about the fact that he wasn't upset about his father dying. But I can't tell you that because I ain't got that choice. I wanted to tell her. A part of me was screaming to tell her what Dad had done. At the same time, I knew she couldn't fix anything. Besides, I was moving out regardless. I remained silent, letting the event remain in the past.
Well, I'll leave your food on the table if you want to eat it later.
Finally, my mom left me alone. It was strange to think that she was only a few inches away from me, only separated by a single wooden door. I really didn't know what to do. I needed to do something, anything, to get my mind off of what had just happened. Anything would be better than thinking any more about the pain still radiating from my cheek. I was going to move into my grandfather's house tomorrow. I should probably pack my stuff so I would be prepared for tomorrow. Yeah, that was a good idea. I should start packing. I opened the closet, rummaging around for a while before I finally found 2 large bags, pulling them out onto the floor of my room. I then began to empty my drawers and cabinets so that I could bring all of my things with me. I didn't have much to bring, other than just clothes and some toiletries. It was kind of bizarre that I didn't have many personal belongings. It wasn't like my luggage was completely devoid of them, but I certainly didn't have many things in my room that I would miss if I just suddenly left the house. I shook my head to rid myself of those thoughts. If it were going to be my new home, it would have to feel like it. One way or another, I was going to make it a home. That scared me. That scared me so much. Just as I was packing my things, my cell phone began ringing and vibrating in my pocket. I slid my phone out of my pocket and answered it while slowly easing myself into the bed. Who could possibly be calling? You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. That came off and I was immediately scared. I don't know why. It just it startled me so much. I was looking around for the music and then I'm like, wait, no, it's coming from the game. It was coming from the game.
Hey, Anderson, you there?
Yes, Suzu, I am.
Is everything alright? We were worried about you, so we decided to call.
I'm glad y'all did, because I could really use a friend right now.
Hello?
I'm really glad you guys called. My voice managed to come out, though it was only a whisper.
What happened? Are you okay?
No, I don't think I am. Well, I slowly began to tell them about the funeral that happened. A small silence followed when I was done recounting what happened. To my relief, Naomi finally spoke up.
I can't begin to imagine how you must be feeling right now. I'm so sorry. Do you want us to come over right now?
Yes, I do. Or better yet, I want to go to wherever y'all are. No, it's okay. My dad isn't in a good mood, so could we just keep talking on the phone like this?
Of course!
right, Suzu? Yeah, we're always here if you need us. After all, we wouldn't be the awesome triple threat trio without you, right?
Haha, yeah.
Triple threat trio? That sounds like the name of a gang.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, we're all taking on the world together. We've got to sound somewhat scary, or else no one's going to take us seriously.
What's with you and naming things?
You've got to step up your game, Naomi. Falling behind to the cool kids like Anderson and me. Tisk tisk.
Hey! I'm a cool kid. If anything, I'd say you'd have to step up your game.
How about we all step up our game? We chatted cheerfully about all sorts of things. Very soon I had forgotten about the events that day and was engaged in a conversation about Naomi's favorite TV show, some program called Herlock. We all agreed that the actor playing the titular character certainly had a very distinctive look about him, with that long overcoat and scarf wrapped around his neck. I have absolutely no idea who they could be talking about, but I mean, this show sounds like it could potentially be, really cool. Potentially. We had many disagreements about who we thought was the coolest character. Haha, yeah, he has really high cheekbones and his eyes are pretty, though I do have to say I prefer Jatson. And as a bonus, his actor is just so sassy. I looked at the clock hanging on the wall and realized how late it was. Whoa, it's already 1 a.m.? Sorry for keeping you guys up so late. I think I'm gonna hit the hay for tonight. See you guys at school tomorrow. You know you've messed up your sleeping schedule when you see 1 a.m. and you're like, oh, well, I could still be awake for a couple more hours. I have thoroughly messed up my sleeping schedule, guys. Like, I need to learn to not stay up till 4 a.m. I should probably shower and go to bed. I can't believe I stayed up this late just to talk to my friends. I know, right? Like, if I was still in high school, and my parents knew that I was on the phone at 1 a.m., I would be in trouble, like a lot of trouble, because you don't get to do that at my house, or you know. But it was really nice. Yeah. Well, to the bathroom I go. I took a relaxing shower. Nothing beat hot water and the feeling of being clean. After drying myself, I promptly dressed in my pajamas and crawled into bed. Ah, nice hot shower after a long day. I'm so glad to finally be in bed. It had been a really long day. I knew that I was wishing for something to change back in class, but I certainly wasn't expecting any of the things that happened today. And I have to go back to school tomorrow. Ugh. I hear you, girl. I curled up on my side and tightly wrapped the blankets around me. I really wasn't in the mood to be returning to school, but my dad probably would make me go just for the sake of it. It's time to go to sleep. I reached out to the lamp on my nightstand to turn off the lights. However, my mind was so lost in the passing of my grandfather and the thought of inheriting something so big that it haunted my mind the entire night until the next morning. I shook my head to try to clear the sleepiness out of me, to no avail. I really didn't get any sleep last night. It's already time to wake up. Wait, school! As soon as I realized I had to go to school, I slid out of bed and looked at the vanity mirror. That's relief. Luckily, there was barely a bruise, on my cheek. You had to squint to actually see it. I doubted anyone would actually notice it unless they leaned in really close. Breathing out a sigh, I got dressed, took my backpack, and called the bus to go to school. It wasn't even hours before everyone heard of the news. I was approached in school and given condolences for my loss. However, that wasn't what shocked my friends.
Wait, so you have the whole Anderson house to yourself? Lucky as hell, man!
I mean, I don't know that it was lucky, but, I kind of would probably rather have the grandfather, but you know.
Quit being so sensitive, Naomi.
Quit being so vulgar, Suzu.
I gotta side with Naomi on this one. Naomi's right, Suzu. I'm sorry. But the wording of these always gets me confusing, but Naomi's right.
Oh, man, come on!
I'm sorry, my grandfather whom I love just died. Oh no. Okay, sorry guys, the sound thing. Hopefully the sound's still there, but I had to side with with Naomi because I loved my grandfather, and you're kind of making light of the situation.
See? She knows about proper public taste.
I know how to be a lady. Sheesh.
I mean, I'm sure you do, but guys, I'm going there after school today because my parents want me to get used to living there.
Seriously? It hasn't even been a day since you came back to school.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. I know, but my parents want me to try living there as soon as possible. Correction, my father wants me to try.
Still, that's really fast. Are you going to be okay?
Of course. But even in the comfort of my best friends, life seemed to keep testing me. Oof.
Hey! Don't go around shoving people like that.
Thank you, Suzu.
Whoops. Did I strike a nerve, Capini?
Oh, Lisette. She let out a small laugh as she twirled her hair around her finger. Lisette, one of the last people I wanted to see today. Lisette looks awfully masculine. Like, okay, I think it's actually, just because she has very broad shoulders. I mean, I'm okay with that. She just... Anyway, she also looks, incredibly mean, but that's okay. Yeah.
It's not me you should be apologizing to. Oh, Anderson. Hey, how's it going?
You suddenly look less mean. I'm alright.
Haven't you already heard, Lizette?
Of what?
Her grandfather's passing.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't really watch a lot of news.
Yeah.
It doesn't really sound like you mean it.
I do mean it. Earnestly. Why wouldn't I?
Typical Capini. Isn't her family involved with the mafia or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she brought out a bat from behind her back right this moment.
Look, rude girl, ain't no reason to be rude. I had nearly forgotten the crowd that followed Lisette, which was mostly comprised of people that no one wanted to see on a typical school day. No one had the slightest idea why exactly they followed Lisette around persistently, but they labeled themselves as social equals with her.
That is out of line. Suzu comes from an honest family.
Says the one whose family profits from political scandals.
Yeah, your dad doesn't make anything unless he's in the court with dirty politicians.
Look, rude girl, you gotta stop being rude.
Hey, let's all calm down for a second, alright? I'm sure Anderson needs some time to recuperate. I mean, what just happened? We need to give her some respect.
I actually agree with Lisette. Let's leave all three of us, me, Suzu, and Naomi, let's just leave us alone because, we got our own thing going on. Just stop. Stop acting like that already, like you feel sorry for me, and we've lost our shit.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure you're happy seeing me like this. You already have everything you wanted, and now seeing me like this, life couldn't get any better. Bitterness seeped into me, and words started flying out of my mouth without filter. But honestly, I didn't care. I was so consumed by anger that I only saw Lisette in front of me. What exactly am I to you? Just another part of your obstacle course? Is that what I am? I'm sick of it, Lisette. I'm sick of all of these charades. I'm sick of you. Gasps rose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hallway. Even my friends beside me looked at me in surprise. One girl looked like she was going to speak up, but Lisette held her hand up to stop her. There was an emotion in her face that I couldn't quite make out, but I could see a form of pity in her eyes. No, don't you dare pity me. I looked away from her. I didn't want to see that emotion in her eyes when she was talking to me. She didn't have the right to look at me that way.
I'm sorry. I know your grandfather passing away must have really taken a toll on your emotions.
Okay, so, I know that we're supposed to, hate Lisette. And I mean, I'm not saying I like her, but, and I'm not even saying she's being genuine, but even that right there, she's like, look, your grandfather passed away. If you need to have a bitch fit, fine, I get it. I don't know why we're supposed to hate her. I mean, I don't like the crowd that follows her around because, they insulted my friends, and I have a policy. You insult my friends, and you're dead to me. She stepped towards me and put her hand on my shoulder, giving me a tiny smile as if for old time's sake. But for some reason, I didn't feel comforted at all. Not that I was just angry at her, but the expression on her face when she leaned in close to me contorted into something complex. Something was different about her. I couldn't quite place my finger on it, but something about her had definitely changed.
Well, I'll be going for now. Track meet responsibilities and all of that stuff. See you later.
Something about Lisette made me feel uncomfortable. I wasn't just angry, but also uneasy. What was it? I had never seen her like that before. But I decided to pay no further attention to it. She continued running down the hallway with her gaggle of friends behind her. I refocused my attention to Mrs. Phillips, who was walking down the hall towards me.
Is everything all right, girls?
Nothing we couldn't handle, Mrs. P. Just a bunch of snobs.
Suzu, hush! It was nothing, Mrs. Phillips.
I see. Well, Miss Anderson, please accept my condolences for your loss.
All right, I will. Thank you, Mrs. Phillips.
Your grandfather was a good man. He really upheld the philanthropy of his company's policies, and the money that went towards charity, too.
Yep. I know, he was amazing. I really looked up to him, and I want to be as good as he was.
Well, I know that you'll be as great as your grandfather.
Hell yeah, she will. She'll be 10 times better than her grandfather.
And I guess the teacher's not going to say anything about you cussing, but okay. Would I? Would I really be better than my grandfather? Everyone seemed to have high expectations for me. I wanted to do my best and make my family proud, but to be better than my grandfather? I wasn't sure about that. From outside the school window, I saw a familiar blue car pull up to the curb. Undoubtedly, it was my father in the driver's seat. Oh, my ride's here. Well, I guess I'll see you both tomorrow.
Want us to come with you?
Yes, I do. Oh no, it's okay. I'll be fine. See you. Father. I'm gonna save. And then save again. Then one more time for old time's sake. Father.
Hey, honey.
Mr. Anderson. As I got into the car, I noticed my father looked troubled, clutching at his steering wheel and staring straight ahead as if something was really bothering him. I wonder if that something was the fact that he struck his daughter across the face.
About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry for yelling at you. Does your cheek still hurt?
I'm not upset about the yelling because, I come from a family where, yelling is our talking. To the point where when I was like, a year old, my mother came into the house and my mother's very loud and she startled me and I started crying because I was like a year old and suddenly there was a loud booming voice and my dad told me that my mom turned to me when I was a baby and said, "You're going to have to toughen up. You come from a loud family. The yelling I can handle, but you laid your hands on me. You let your anger get in the way and you struck me, and I have issues with that. I don't typically buy it was the heat of the moment. I would never do something like that. You either will or you won't. I have issues with it, Mr. Anderson. No, it's nothing to worry about, even though it is.
I mean it. I shouldn't have laid a finger on you.
No, you shouldn't have.
You know that you're my most precious daughter. You're all that I have.
You also have your wife, but okay. Yet he couldn't bring himself to say what he could never say to me for such a long time. I always wanted to hear those words to affirm how he really felt, but I guess even now he couldn't say it to me. I turned my head away to look out the window. There was no point in waiting for something that was never going to come. And like that, he started to drive and the conversation between us ended. I decided to focus my attention on the passing scenery. We were taking the usual route to grandfather's house. It was located within the vicinity of the school district, but it was still pretty far from the school and from where our house was. He had always lived alone. He insisted on doing things by himself, even at his age, living in such a large house. I wondered, did he pass away with no one at his side as well? It sounded so lonely and sad. It was strange that he decided on living all alone in his large estate. If anything, he could have lived with us, though he and my father probably would have given each other the silent treatment the entire time. Maybe living alone was preferable to that. I actually hadn't visited him for quite a while. Visits to his house were most frequent when I was a child, and I had grown up long since then. The last time I visited, though, I thought he looked just as he usually was, happy and healthy. But things changed. In the back of my mind, I knew that he would have to leave one day. It wasn't like humans could live forever. So why did my heart still feel so heavy? 'Cause he's gone. That kind of stuff's sad. The car ride was mostly spent in silence until he spoke up again.
How was school? Maintaining your grades, I hope.
Yeah, I've been trying my best as of so far.
Trying? That's not really doing the best you can, is it?
Course not, Father, 'cause I'm a failure. With my father, only some words I said were filtered through his ears. It was difficult to keep up a conversation without eventually talking about academics or my future, even if it was something loosely based on it. He always found a way to integrate in it whenever we talked.
Anyway, your belongings are in the trunk. There isn't a lot, so I'm sure you can manage bringing them inside the house. After all, you are on the road to being independent now.
Yes, I can manage on my own. The usual silence resumed between us. I really wasn't sure what to say around him, especially when most of the time we didn't share the same opinions. One question did linger in my mind, though. If he was going to justify acting so nonchalant at grandfather's funeral, I had the right to at least know why. Try again, or leave it alone. Well, my ducklings, he's already hit us. Which, probably means that I should leave it alone, because, let's be honest, even if I say try again, he's not going to tell us. But I'm not one to give up. Say, Dad, about you and Grandpa.
We are not talking about this.
But I feel like we should be, because Grandpa did leave us yesterday, so...
I wouldn't care if he had left even long before that. I do not want to hear it, and that is the end of this conversation.
Well, you cannot say that I didn't try. As always, he managed to shut down any other form of communications related to him. It was just like what happened last night. Except this time he was driving, so he couldn't hit me. I opened my mouth slightly, but I closed it again. It was like talking to a brick wall. It wasn't like I could find out anything by somehow arguing my way through it. Alright then. I leaned against the car door and stared out the window. I really couldn't think. What would this place be like? I had been to my grandfather's house before, but it was one thing visiting and it was another thing actually living there. How would I manage living on my own without any training to really care for a house? I knew that naturally the bills would be paid by my parents, who inherited grandfather's stocks to the corporation, but I had never lived independently before. Thinking about it made me feel like some kind of bird being pushed out of the nest. Though I was technically an adult, I felt unprepared and a bit daunted at the prospect of actually moving into a new place. Most people my age would be ecstatic moving out. After all, it would symbolize some kind of change in their life, like being on the road to independence. But I felt like it was nothing of the sort. I really hoped I wouldn't let my parents down. I wouldn't want to let grandfather down. What would he be saying right now? I gazed up at the passing clouds in the sky. If you're out there, grandfather, how would you be doing? Would there be anything you'd want to tell me at this moment? And of course, no answer. What was I doing, searching for an answer in a heaven that would or would not exist? I ducked my head to stare at the blur of trees and cars from the car window. My head was definitely going into the clouds there at that moment. Either way, I found myself being driven off to my new home. The car rolled to a stop and I drifted out of my thoughts.
Here we are. Go on in.
Alright, tell Mom I love her.
All right.
I love you, Dad. Come on, you can say it. Bridge the gap between you and your daughter. It's obvious from looking at your face that you want to say it, so just say it. No, make sure to come by and visit us often. No, I'm going to miss you lots. Nothing other than a blank stare. I pause a bit before reaching for the car door handle, waiting for any form of a goodbye, but he didn't speak again. I sighed and exited the car. Hearing my dad pop open the trunk, I saw the 2 large bags I packed last night that were large enough to carry only the things I needed. I took them out, placed one bag on each shoulder, and closed the trunk. He then drove off, leaving me alone in front of the mansion. I watched the blue car fade into the distance of the road before turning to see my new home. There it is. It's huge. My grandfather gave me this. It's hard to believe. The house was framed by a set of tall gates, and I hesitantly pushed them aside to take in the entire estate. The house still looked like it was when I last visited them. At a glance, it seemed kind of intimidating with its size, though if I came closer, it was clear that there was more to it than that. The brick walls were framed by shrubbery and lovely flowers. That's a lie. Giving it a homey and welcoming look, but in contrast, the tall doors into the house gave me a feeling of grandeur. Who knew what was waiting for me? But I wouldn't back down at this moment. I took out the key to the front doors and unlocked them. Well, might as well make myself at home. I'll be staying here for quite a while anyways. That's when I saw them. Lying on the floor was a group of men. They were all unconscious, but there were no explanations as to why they were there in the first place. I dropped my bags as I let the door close on its own behind me. Who the heck are these guys? Why are they here? What's going on? Some of them had open wounds. The blood was staining the floor, and the scent was intermingling with the air. I couldn't help but feel bad for them, instinctively, but nevertheless, I was shocked and a bit angry at the sudden intrusion. My mind suddenly went from caring and concerned to confused and demanding answers. Who are you guys? No response. I'll call the police. Still nothing. None of them seemed to be awake to answer or respond to me. It seemed surreal to have random strangers in the house I just moved into. But I wanted answers quickly. That was until... Eek! Get away from me!
Woman, you're going to let me kiss you. Woman, you're going to let me kiss you.
Just one more time.
Woman, you're going to let me kiss you.
Okay. Anyways, I couldn't believe it myself, but within a mere blink of an eye, one of the men went from laying on the floor to being right in front of me. What was even more odd was the fact that I felt serene and calm about it. Slowly, a desire burned from my chest, telling me to accept his kiss, even when my mind vehemently refused. Oh, him. I remember you, boy. I remember you lots. Go ahead.
Good.
Yeah. Yep.
Good.
Okay. As he kissed me, I could feel my body go weak. I didn't know why, but the kiss was draining me of my energy, and yet it was so good and made my heart sing. It was a strange and tingling feeling that danced over every nerve of my body. I could feel streams of intangible energy run up my body into my lips. It felt odd, but at the same time, it felt amazing.
Sam, stop it.
The person kissing me, Sam was his name, glanced behind him.
I said stop. Now.
Fine.
Oh, Sam. Finally, he pulled back, and I was left standing there in a daze. Oh, Sam. Huh? I couldn't tell what was going on. My mind was completely enwrapped by the kiss and my thoughts that melted into the depths of my forgotten memories.
Please forgive my brother. He's a bit reckless.
At least I feel a hell of a lot better than you right now.
Oh, Sam.
Because you used your abilities on her.
Sam, you're such a reckless brute. Taking advantage of a beautiful young woman like her.
Eric.
Shut that pretty boy mouth of yours before I rip it off your pretty boy face.
Do it. I want to see it.
Sheesh, you guys. Can we not fight right now? Not all of us are in the best state.
I guess you are right, Matthew.
I agree.
Him. Yep. However, as the men got up and started to chat freely, my thoughts began to reassemble, and I remembered my confusion and anger once again, only now multiplied tenfold. What?
Huh? Did you say something beautiful?
Eric. And I exploded. What is going on? Why the hell are you all here in my house? Why are you all wounded? Why did you kiss me? Who are you guys? And they have the audacity to look shocked at us. Couldn't help exploding, but after being taken advantage of and being left in a mush state, my words escaped without filter. I definitely scared the men around me, even the man who kissed me. Wait a second, the guy who kissed me.
Ouch! What's your problem?
What's your problem? You can't just go around forcing people to kiss you like that. Are you some kind of pervert?
Pervert? It was only a kiss!
A kiss is very special. It might mean nothing to you, but it means a lot to me.
What? Was it your first kiss?
So what if it was?
Ow! Hey! What was that for?
I know first kisses aren't exactly amazing and full of sparkles and something out of a fairy tale, but I had at least expected it to be more than just something forced. Or from some stranger. I should know. My first kiss, was actually from a gay man. Well, a gay boy. In high school. Yeah. And, to make it even better, I was the last person he kissed before, or not the last person he kissed, I was the last girl he kissed before he finally came out as being gay. So, I don't know if that's something I should really even be saying, but, oh him. Anyways. Yeah, first kisses are special. You can't just be taking that.
So it was your first kiss. Stop making such a big deal out of it.
Hit him again. Are you asking to get punched again?
Well, what do you want me to do? It's not like I can somehow take it back.
Ask for an apology, or hit him again. You know what? I'm going to take the high road, and I'm going to make him apologize. You should at least apologize. That would suffice. As if to himself, he muttered something under his breath.
Why do I always look like the bad guy? Apologies aren't my forte, but I'll try my best.
Well?
Okay, fine. I'm sorry.
Sorry about what?
I'm sorry for kissing you like that. I went too far.
He sighed and ran his fingers through his hair. I guess I can take it. I could have gotten, a first kiss from someone much worse.
I didn't mean for it to turn out that way. It's just, I act on impulse, okay? It's difficult to control myself and... What am I saying?
It's okay. I get what you're trying to say. Thank you for the apology.
Yeah, no problem.
I think he liked that. I think that's what that means. Anyway, if you try to pull any funny business in the future, just a fair warning, I know Taekwondo. Boy, I know me some Taekwondo. I wouldn't be in me. I think I've bickered enough. Time to get back to the main issue. So, what exactly are all of you doing in my house? And with that, my ducklings, I'm going to save. And I'm going to call that the end of the first episode. Going to save again, because and one more time. I'm going to call that the end of the first episode. So, yeah, I will see y'all in the next video. Until next time, my ducklings.